Everybody, welcome back to PC 911. I got a really good tutorial for you. You're going to love it. It's going to be super long. Well, you're going to love it if you have an iMac and you want to do what we're going to do here. It's going to be long, but it's going to be good. What we're going to be doing here with this iMac is we're going to be doing we're going to make it fly. We're going to put wings on it, almost. We're going to be changing the hard drive to this baby right here. Samsung Evo terabyte drive. We're also going to upgrade the RAM. We're going to go to 16 gigs. What it's running right now, let's take a quick look about this Mac. I mean, it's running a spinning drive, so regardless of the size, it's not really going to matter. But we're running 4 gigs of RAM, you can see there, so we're going to go to 16 gigs. It's going to be super, super nice. So, got the hard drive over here. So one of the first things you want to do here is when you want to put this what we're going to be doing here is we're not going to reinstall the operating system. We're going to clone the current operating system. They want to keep it as is, so we're not going to start from scratch. They have programs installed, data here and there. So this tutorial is going to be changing to an SSD, upgrading the RAM, and actually doing a clone. And here we go. First thing I want you to do is I want you to go to your disk utility. Actually, when you put that hard drive in, it's probably going to tell you that it's unrecognizable and it needs to be formatted. So either way, I want you to go to disk utility anyways. First off, we're going to find that we just lost it. That's this one right here. The upper corner is my my adapter. So we're going to go there, and you probably know this. If you're watching this video, you probably know a little bit about this, but either way, we're going to go erase. We're going to give it a name. The default format is that right there, the Mac OS External Journal. We're going to give it a name. We're going to call this iMac SSD, and I'm going to type here, so this might not be good. Video is going to be terrible quality, but the content is going to be good for you, so bear with me. We're going to call it iMac SSD, and call it whatever you want. And the reason why this video is going back and forth is because I'm recording it by hand and typing at the same time. So we got that. So make sure you get the right drive. You do not want to do this to another drive. I have a flash drive in there as well. So that's the hardest part, or one of the important parts. It confirms. All right, so we're going to do that. So that drive becomes visible. And that should be pretty quick. The next thing we're going to do is we want to make sure that the hard drive is in good condition. And actually, if you see right here, once it's finished formatting it, it's going to show up here at the top. So that's the iMac SSD. That's another drive that I have in there, which is going to be for some of the tools. So I want you to go to your current hard drive, which is the Mac HD, and then I want you to go to First Aid, and I want you to verify the disk. Basically, you want to verify that the disk is good. Any corrections are made for the clone. The clone is basically every sector, everything's going to be copied over. So you want to have it as clean as possible, so that that copy, especially in this case if it's a big drive, you don't want failing, starting all over again. So if you don't do that, it could turn into a headache. So we're going to allow that to run, and then I'll get right back with you. Okay, and here we're back. The disk utilities has failed, so you can see that it stopped, and you see down here that the disk needs to be repaired. So we're already running into snags and issues. Here we have a decision to make, is whether we want to, if we want to run the repair, we're going to have to boot from from the recovery partition on here, or from a boot disk to run that repair. But at the same time, we also want to take into consideration that if this hard drive is in really bad condition, running all that could render it even worse. So what we're gonna do here, this route, is we're just gonna take the hard drive out, swap the hard drives. That way I can put this hard drive on a Windows machine, and I could actually check a little bit better the status of the drive before we continue to run scans. I mean, not repairs and these kind of things. And the next thing you know, it's going to potentially get worse, especially if they do not have a backup of this data. So either way, I'll be following up and showing you everything we're going to do here to resolve this issue and to get this baby flying. All right, guys, we're coming back. What we decided on we're going to do on this machine here is we're going to do the we're going to shut it down, and we're going to do the recovery from the recovery partition to show you that. And if that doesn't work out, then either way we'll go the other route. But just take into consideration, you know, based on your end, if the data is of concern or is not of concern. And to get into the recovery partition, you want to start your computer and press option, and it should give you the little chime. Maybe not. Took a little bit, and if not, we have the discs anyways. So let's see if it gives us that. Okay, so we're going to go here to the recovery partition, boot from it, and we're going to see if it's going to allow us to do this. I'm going to click a pause, so just to not have you watch that bar move creepingly, slowly over. So here we are. When you get up here, you're going to go to this utility. Just basically the same, we're going to use the same utility, but this is going to run separate from, I guess it's like a separate partition that it has, so it's able to access the disk directly. So let's see if we can do it from here. We're going to select the bottom one, and that's going to give us the option here, which prior, when you're booted from it, it does not give you the option to boot from the active partition. So let's see how that goes. See if we can get that repaired. And this will be something that, aside from just doing an installation or cloning or whatever you're doing, this could just be you know, a tutorial on how to repair your hard disk if you're having issues. This is one of the most common reasons, aside from malware and stuff like that, that your computer will get slow, be it a Windows machine or be it a Mac. Either way, you got a bad hard drive, your computer's going nowhere. So we'll wait on that and see how that goes. Okay, we're back. This took a while. I didn't put the clock on it, but I think it took like 30 minutes at least. So that did get repaired. From here, we're still going to do a verification. We'll do another verification, make sure that comes out clean, and then basically we'll do a restart. Take a look at it again from within the operating system, and then we go forward with the clone. So a lot of these things look very easy. You say, well, all you got to do is just clone that drive, and you see that here, that cloning of that drive is going to be a few hours. So it's not as easy said than as done, and that's what we get sometimes. Clients say, well, that's really quick, you'll do that in 15 minutes. Nothing is 15 minutes. Everything sometimes, most of the time, you run into a little stumbling block like this, and you got to know what to do. So we'll let you know. We'll see how that goes, and we'll catch you in a minute. Okay, so we ran the second verified disk. Everything is good. We're going to do a restart, and just start up regular. We're going to verify that disk now again just in the OS, make sure it's good to go, and then we'll start our cloning, keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully no more surprises over here. Okay, we're back up in the operating system, and we're going to repair, or actually verify, the disk. and we'll see how that comes out in a minute. Okay, so here we are, guys. Here's the results of our disk repair. Everything looks good, so we're going to go ahead with the cloning, and we're going to go here to a couple of softwares out there you can use for this. What we're going to be using is called Super Duper. This little program right here, and it's a pretty simple, straight up program. It's free. Actually, the basic program is free. If you want some special features, then you're gonna have to purchase it, but for our purposes, we're gonna use the free version. We should be good to go with it. Let's we don't need a user guide. This mouse is a little kind of crazy, so basically we're right here. Let's close this out, and well, if we can close this out, I don't know what's going on, if this mouse is a little wacky. But basically here it's going to ask you copy from where to where. So we're going to copy from Mac HD, that 500 gig hard drive. That's the current drive. And we're going to go to the iMac SSD. So it's a good idea to have a different name when you do that, so you don't get confused. We're going from there to, from that to that. Here you got a couple options. What do you want to do? We're going to basically back up all files. There's a couple different options there. And that's going to copy everything and make it a bootable drive. Hopefully we don't have any errors. It goes all the way through. We're going to be good. If we do have errors, it stops. You have to start from scratch unless you have a paid version. The paid version gives you features basically to pick up where you left off, and we've done that before, so I do have a paid version as well. So hopefully this is going to work. We're going to go copy now. And it's going to ask us for our password, your password. Hopefully I got the right password on this thing. Warning you, you're about to erase the iMac SSD. So yes, we're familiar with that. And here's going to go through the motions. It's going to prepare, erase, copy, and then it's going to make it bootable at the end. That's going to take a good while. I've seen this take up to 10 hours. On a full terabyte. This is 500 gigs, so we'll see the elapsed time when we get to the end of this, but it could easily take a couple hours. So we'll catch up with it tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, so here we're back. This finished. It's showing you there it took 7 hours, so it does take a long time. There may be other software out there that you prefer, maybe faster. This one's very simple, and frankly we're just not here in a rush, so we'll just let it take its time and do its thing. So you can see it copies everything, and then you see at the end there that it made the drive bootable. I'm gonna boot the unit from the drive just to confirm that it is bootable, and then we're gonna go into the replacement. Catch you in a minute. Okay, so here we're doing a restart, and if you're watching this, you probably know how to choose a different hard drive. Basically, you restart the computer, you hold down the option key, you're going to get the different boot options, whether it be the recovery partition, or in this case, the SSD, which we have here. The Evo, so we're booting from that. I'm just going to verify that we can boot to it, and then we'll go into actually just swapping it out. And I mean, we're going through all these, steps. If you guys out there want to, cut out that step and just put it in. But I think it's always, safer to verify that everything's working before you take the whole thing apart, put it in there. Then if you have some type of issues, take it apart again. Even though, of course, you could also do the reinstallation or what have you. But that's what we're recommending here, that we just go through the whole thing the proper way. So even though of course the SSD is super fast, it's running off of a USB 2.0, so you're gonna see a little bit of you're gonna see a little bit of lag. It's not gonna be running like if it was installed. So right there we're running off of the external drive. And there's a bunch of stuff starting off here which kind of stinks. going to show you here this utility. More stuff to close out. And if we can get over here. And there are the 3 discs, and we're booting off of the only way you can tell, it's going to be hard for us to tell right here which one we're in. But basically this is one way you could tell which one you're in. When we select that, you'll notice here the repair disc is grayed out because you cannot repair a disc that you're booted into. So you see it there that it's gray. If we go to the Mac HD, you see the repair there is available. And then this is the flash drive. So that's just to show you that that's the one that we're booting into. Alright, so we're gonna take this baby apart, swap these things out. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here we are. We already checked the hard drive. It's booting from it. First thing we're going to do is, this is a big suction cup. You can use any suction cup. This is not that hard to take off. So of course with this suction cup is a little easier, but you're just going to basically pull this off. This is just magnets, frankly. So pull this off, put this in a place where it's not going to get dirty, and then you're going to spend a bunch of time cleaning it up. And what we're going to do here is you're going to have 8 screws. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 along this side here. There's very strong magnets here across the board. So when you do that, you're going to find that you want to hang on to these because they're going to wind up either falling down or you're going to get stuck on the magnet. So I'm going to get this off and we'll follow up in a little bit. Okay, so I'm here down to the last screw. I'm using this plier to grab these things because we don't want them falling back there. I mean, if they do fall back, you'll find them, but you can save yourself that trouble. So we went across the board, those 8 screws we talked about, and this just comes, just peels right up. And actually, it's a little hard. Gotcha. And this one is going to be a little tougher than we thought. It has some aluminum stuck right here. It's not letting it come out. So let's see. There you go. So that was just kind of glued there. So it really shouldn't have any issues as far as coming out. And then here we're going to have a few connectors. I don't know if we can get actually in here. You're going to have a few cables. This is dusty, dirty. We got one connector right here. I don't know how well this is going to come out. So you're going to have this connector to take off. You're going to have this one down here. And you're going to have the video cable to take off as well. This video cable, I like to peel it from here. I like to peel this tape off and disconnect it from here versus trying to get it off from there, because that area down here is a little bit more sensitive. And then lastly, you're going to have this little guy here. So the point here is when you open it up, you want to be careful as far as not getting these cables ripped, and then you're going to have a little bit more trouble. So we're going to get those off and we'll be back in a bit. Okay, so here we are. We took that that LCD off. Okay, we're over here, put it over here, and this thing is kind of dusty. This is a good opportunity to clean this unit up. You can see all the dust collection. We're going to dust it off, and then here is the hard drive. 2 screws are going to hold it in place, as you can see. You got one right there and the other one right here. Even though this is a larger size drive, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how we're just going to adapt it in there. Spinning hard drive, or the SSD, really, it's not moving. It just requires I'm going to put some double-sided tape to adhere it to there, and it uses the same connectors. Also, this is going to have this connector down here on these hard drives. Most of these Macs are going to have them. If you don't have it, no problem. But basically, this connection right here that you're seeing right in the middle, and I'll show it to you afterwards again, that's the temperature sensor for the hard drive. So when we change this hard drive, the SSD is not going to have that. So the fan is going to be running full blast. So I'm going to be showing you a software that you're going to need to install so you can control that fan, and you don't have that fan. It gets loud, so you don't have that fan blowing super loud all the time. So I'm going to take this hard drive out, and we'll catch it. And I'm going to clean it out. You don't need to watch me clean this thing out. Basically, we just get some compressed air. Well, in our case, we have not compressed air. We have a little machine for air over here. This little guy. And this little guy's worth its weight in gold. We use this cat here. Clean that up. And we'll catch you in a little bit. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys, so here we're back, and gonna take the hard drive. I already took the screw out. You got one screw, second screw over here. These screws, be cautious with them because they will pop out, fall back into the motherboard, and you could lose one. Actually, you can't lose it because if it does go back into that motherboard, you need to find it. You can't leave it in there. So you want to, this just pops right out. You got 3 cables here. One thermostat control. We're not going to be using it on the new drive. And then data and power. Just pop those out. They might be a little harder, a little softer. As you can see, that one was kind of tough. That's going to come out just like that. We're going to take this bracket off. This one right here. And we're going to attach the SATA onto there. So it's going to be like a little rig, but it'll be working fine. I'll show you that in a minute. So here we're back. Let me show you what we did. I hope you can see that. There's different ways you can attach this. Use your own ideas. But basically on this bracket, I put a double-sided tape just so it has some adherence here so it doesn't move around. And then we put 2 tie wraps, the miracle of tie wraps. You can do pretty much anything with a tie wrap, so you can see that there. This is not spinning, doesn't have any heat. That's not going anywhere. If you're familiar with these drives, they don't even weigh anything. So we're just going to have the 2 connectors there. And when you put this on there, just make sure you got these connectors in the right direction so that they wind up not having to really twist them around. Just keep them right in the same. And then this one we're not using. We're going to just kind of, we don't want it flying around all over the place. Let's just run it through here, and it's just going to sit there idle. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to give you a little zoom on that and what we're going to do there. And that's what you got. So we're going to be putting this back together again, the connections, and then we'll show you how that goes. Thanks for following the show. Okay, again here I want to show you these connectors. Got this inside one there. I put some tape on it already. Remember, you have the one down here. I don't know if we can actually see it at the moment. You can see that one right. I can show you that. You can see that right there. But if you take this apart, you'll see it's pretty simple. That one comes straight out. They're fairly simple to do. And the last connector right here. And then the last one is going to be this little ribbon one that just goes straight right there. And I'm shooting this by myself, so whoever's watching this is probably saying, wow, terrible. But that's where that one goes. Yeah, we're more techs here than photographers, so that's what we're dealing with. So what I'm going to do is connect that, test this out first, make sure everything's working. And you got to be really careful with this too, that this thing does not flip out on you. Keep your hands on this at all times. Do not let go of the screen. You don't want this flopping over and creating a mess. And if you're doing a cameraman at the same time, even be more careful. So let's get this baby up and running. Let's test it out. Okay, so here we are. We're going to crank it up. We got the keyboard plugged in. We got the I got one screw in this screen here, because if we got to open it up, but you want to put one screw because you don't want this popping back out. So put at least one screw in there. Test everything out. One of the things you want to test out, basically just go in there and run through the motions, test your camera and stuff like that. Make sure everything's good, even though we didn't really do any connections there. And the moment of truth, if everything worked out and the hard drive is properly cloned and if everything's good to go. And let's give it a couple seconds. So basically, while this is going up to the desktop, what we're going to wrap up pretty much is just finishing up the screws. We're going to have to wipe this screen down because we've been touching it so much. Usually you don't want to touch it too much. That way you can get going with your build. But in this case, doing videos and going back and forth, that's gotten kind of messy, so we're going to have to clean that up. But not a big deal. And we're up and we are running. And obviously, if you're familiar with the machine that I was running before, you're going to notice it's tremendously faster. We're going to clean all these startup things up, but yeah, I can just see just those windows opening up that this thing is much snappier than what was going on before. So we got a happy customer right here. So we're going to continue right along, and we'll catch you a bit. All right, guys, so we're here. We're about to wrap this up. We're back on the desktop. The last thing I want to show you is the software that you're going to be using to adjust the fan. If you listen to this, if you're listening to that, basically the fan is kind of loud, and depending on your scenario. What you're going to install here is called Mac Fan Control. It's this little software right here, MACS Fan Control. I have it already installed, which is right here. And that's what you're going to take a look at. Those are your 3 fans. So you can see the hard drive one in the middle is running at around 4400. It's set to automatic. And that's just what it picked up. I guess if the unit was hotter, it'd run a little bit hotter, what have you. So basically, just go here and click on this custom, and then you could just customize it. Right there, it's at 4200. Let me show you how, if it gets set up to a higher level, you're gonna see how. And it is kind of annoying. Had a customer this week that was telling me that he was having a loud fan after changing a hard drive. So that's going to happen. So the easiest thing to do here is if you just want to drop it down to maybe 3500, just to the point where you're not hearing it. Let's go to 3000. And you can play around with it. That's just creating a constant RPM there. Let's go to 3000, and if we hit that, it should slow down if you can hear it. And you see how now it's quiet again. So if you're happy with 3000, leave it there. Remember, we're not cooling down a hard drive anyways. The other 2 are just fine. The SSD generates virtually no heat. If you want to play around with this, there's other settings in here, but I think the constant setting at the 3000 or maybe 3500 if it's a hot area will be fine. You can take a look at all your values over here and see that everything is good to go. So that pretty much wraps up this iMac. Customers ready to go. Thanks for watching, everybody.